Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host Omar Khalid. But today is the 6th of September 2024, and of course, as the day also shows and materializes, the fact that 59 years have passed by as far as Pakistan's defense is concerned, the 1965 war is concerned, and how Pakistan defended itself against its arch enemy is an example that remains in our minds, in our hearts to this very day. 59 years have passed since Pakistan has also shown to our region and to other countries across the world that Pakistan is a defense force to be reckoned with, that nobody can try to harm Pakistan or Pakistan's borders, or try to enter Pakistan, or try to create such an environment so as to destabilize our country. Even under the current circumstances, we are engulfed with challenges that we are confronting with our heads held high, whether it be through all the terrorist elements that are entering through Afghanistan, whether it be through the nefarious designs of our arch enemies that continue to forge different methodologies to destabilize Pakistan, whether it be 1965 or whether it be 2024. The resolve of these elements remains there, but the resolve of Pakistan also remains entrenched within its people and within its armed forces. And today we pay tribute to all those who have not only laid down their lives in the defense of our motherland, but continue to lay down their lives in the defense of our motherland and continue to defend our land through different methodologies, through different ways and means, whether it be through the forces, whether it be through the paramilitary forces, and whether it be through our intelligence agencies, to thwart all such designs. This was the case in 1965, this was the case in 1971, this was the case afterwards, post 9/11, and this is still the case today. To highlight different aspects of that, we will be joined by three guests. Two are in the studios right here with me and one will be online. In the studios, we've been joined by our very dear Lieutenant General Raza Khan, retired. He is a senior analyst and a former president of the National Defense University. Sir, thank you very much to have joined us. Normally, we always get to see you through Skype, but it's it's interesting and important that you come all the way to the studios today. Our second guest is Vice Admiral retired Ahmed Saeed, Hilal Imtiaz Military. You're the DG NIMA. Thank you very much to have joined us, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here in the studios as well.
Omar, it's my pleasure.
And of course, to highlight another aspect of our forces, we've got two different, sides of our forces here, and the third would be joined online. AVM retired Ijaz Malik Saab, senior analyst, also joins us online. Thank you very much to have joined us as well, Ijaz Malik Saab. Let's begin with you, Lieutenant General Raza Khan Saab. Raza Khan Saab, when we think of today is the 6th of September, we are always reminded of what happened in 1965, what happened when enemies tried to force their way in Pakistan, and there were statements as if they wanted to have chai, tea in the Gymkhana and other such statements. But Pakistan's forces thwarted all such designs, all the three forces, whether it be the army, the air force, or the Pakistan Navy, whether it be the Operation Dwarka, whether it be the other operations. Pakistan's armed forces were steadfast and held their hands to defend our motherland. On the 6th of September 1965, the people of Pakistan and the country's armed forces thwarted these nefarious designs of the enemy. How is that precedent being followed in contemporary Pakistan in 2024?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Obviously, in the 1965 war, the whole nation was united, and that unity is exemplary, and that was one reason why we were able to defeat a much larger enemy. The ratio of forces were in all the three services, it was against us. It was 3-1 in the army, and I think similarly in the Navy and the Air Force, they were much superior to us. But with the support of the people of Pakistan and the government of Pakistan, I recall the Trinity of Clausewitz, who is supposed to be the philosopher of war, and he says that if the people, the government, and the armed forces work together, then I think they would be able to surmount any challenge and win any war. In that, I'll add here that again it was the outstanding support of Pakistani media as well, which supported that effort, and we showed it to the world that although we are inferior in material, but we are superior in our training, in our motivation, and we know how to defend our country, and we showed it to the Indians as well.
I think, and we continue to show it to
Yes.
the Indians and all our enemies who try to destabilize Pakistan, or try to show to the world that Pakistan is a country that where one should not come, invest, etc., etc. And Pakistan, through its armed forces, through its civilian forces and its agencies, has shown the world and all these elements that Pakistan continues to be a force to be reckoned with. Vice Admiral Saab, how has the war of 1965 proven to be a defining moment as far as Pakistan's history is concerned? We all know of Operation Dwarka in 1965, and I think we can't talk enough about it. I think whenever the opportunity arises, we need to highlight it, because this is one of the defining moments of Pakistan Navy as well.
Yeah, very rightly I think pointed out that it is and it was and it will remain the defining moment of our national history and as well as the naval history, for the very reasons that as General Raza alluded to, 3-to-1 ratio. In the Navy it was 5-to-1. So at that time, with this kind of resources, naval strategists, they took the initiative, surprised the enemy, and after that they maintained the dominance at sea. This is something which is unthinkable. The kind of planning they did, the kind of secrecy they maintained, and reached within the limits of 5 to 6 nautical mile. And then each ship, there was 7 ships plus a submarine, 1 light cruiser and 6 destroyers. So the entire operation was carried out very meticulously in 4 minutes. So this is the planning, secrecy and execution at all levels, and they achieved the surprise also. So not only it was to destroy the radar station, the DF station, that which was actually directing the Indian aircrafts towards the Karachi and the other areas. Along with that, it was in the psychological domain, a bigger enemy, take the initiative and retain it. That was the another motive. So that was done, very immaculately planned and executed. So that's why it is taken as a classical example, and it is being taught in many countries also, that how a smaller country executed a plan so meticulously and attained and all the objectives also.
But it's very important, Vice Admiral Saab, that we continue to highlight that, because every few years we've got a new generation that needs to be reminded of the sacrifices that our armed forces have given over the decades for Pakistan to be, for them to thrive in a country that they can call their own. I think it's this whole sentiment of being in a free state is extremely important, and where all of this comes from, who have sacrificed their lives so that we today can lead our lives in a much safer manner, in a much liberated manner. I think this is something that needs to be reminded time and time again to each new generation, and also in the educational institutions. It's extremely important, because a lot of people don't remember or don't realize the importance of these sacrifices. Coming to you, AVM Ijaz Malik Saab, whether it be MM Alam Saab and the Little Dragon, as he was very fondly known as, and of course his also role in the 1965 war, whether it be the role of the Pakistan Air Force since then, being a very important part of our armed forces, the Pakistan Air Force has also shown to Pakistan and to the world that it is a force to be reckoned with. What I'd like to ask you, saying that one of the most remarkable aspects of the unity during the 1965 war was the way it transcended Pakistan's diverse ethnic and regional divides. I'm not just talking of those in the armed forces, but also beyond. How can we preserve, in your point of view, this oneness from the streets of Karachi to the terrains of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa today in 2024, to make everybody understand that the only way that we can strengthen ourselves is to be as one?
Thank you very much. First of all, we need to realize that we need unity in all shades and manifestation, much more than what we displayed in 1965. And because in today's world, with the new media avenues available, with the kind of fifth generation warfare being active and all around us in its full spectrum, and with the world becoming a global village because of IT and computer technology, we need to pursue at political level, at social level, and of course in all other aspects of our social order, that we have to revisit the purpose and the very objective of creation of Pakistan, and then only we can pursue those common objectives, like which was manifested in the vision of our great Qaid, where we did have diversity of ethnicity or languages or our cuisines within the proposed areas of Pakistan, but still the binding force was the ideology of Pakistan. The binding force was religion and a common objective, which was later on embodied in the objective resolution of our and adopted as the preamble to our constitution. So I think we have to take a very serious note of this and strive for that, and rise above our political or regional or subnational sentiments and work towards unity, because if we are united, we can take all challenges. In fact, we need to understand that we have challenges much higher in magnitude as compared to what we inherited at the time of partition, and then followed by the wars, particularly the 1965 war, which were imposed on us.
Right. Coming to you, Lieutenant General Raza Muhammad Khan Saab, how do you see the coordinated action of the Pakistan Army, Navy and Air Force from Lahore, Karachi, run of Kutch to Chamjoriya, that made all sectors of the Indian leadership go in ruins? Do you feel that the Indian leadership, I mean not the Indian leadership, but the Indian forces even today know and understand and realize the designs of the Pakistan Armed Forces in case they are dealt with in an improper manner?
All right, in your introduction, you very rightly made a mention of this day, and this day we remember all the martyrs and all those who struggled starting from 1947, where 1 million people lost their lives, gave their lives to attain our independence, and 1.5 million people, they were homeless, they left their homes.
Yes.
So we pay a lot of we remember them and we pay homage to them. And thereafter the 1948 Kashmir war again, which was imposed upon us, but we were able, at that time we had nothing really, literally whatever we got in inheritance from India, that were peanuts, and we had no weapons, no equipment, no ammunition. But whatever we had, we were able, to stop the Indians in 1948 on what is now the line of control. And it was then in 1948 that India went to the UN Security Council and begged for a ceasefire.
Yes.
Otherwise, we could have pushed them out of there. They kept on promising, Nehru kept on promising to Mr. Liaquat Ali Khan that it will be, this will be done, Kashmir will be solved through a plebiscite. But that was all a lie. And between the period from 1949 till 1964, they brought all those presidential orders. I am talking of the prelude to the 1965 war. 4 presidential orders, because of which, Article 370, 365, 36A and all that, which still continues. And it was because of that reason that Pakistan was first compelled to go to the UN Security Council once again and inform that what India is doing is not right for peace and security in the subcontinent, but nothing happened there. And then, there was a rebellion in Kashmir, and then when that they obviously they blamed Pakistan for that. And when we sent very small amount of material support to the Kashmiri leaders on their request inside Kashmir, they attacked Pakistan, from Lahore and Sialkot and Suleimanki and Barki and all those areas. So this is a little bit of the prelude to the 1965 war. And then I must make a mention of the counteraction of the Pakistan Army and Air Force combined in the Khem-Karan sector, where our forces were ready really to threaten Amritsar, and the Indian Army chief had actually ordered his GOC to leave Amritsar, abandon that place and come and take defenses on Beas River. But then the Prime Minister, he once again went for and asked for a ceasefire, and that did not happen. Otherwise, all their forces west of Beas River, including those in Kashmir and in Punjab, they would have been severed through this counter-offensive. So that's again a part of history. And you made a mention, of the episode of they wanting, to have some meal.
In Gymkhana.
Yeah, in Gymkhana in particular, and at Shalimar Bagh. And they caught, a double-decker bus there, which was on that side of BRB. And they informed BBC that, look, we have captured Lahore. And BBC actually announced it that the Indian Armed Forces have captured Lahore. And then what turned out.
Okay, Vice Admiral Saab, many messages have come today, whether it be from our President, from our Prime Minister, from our forces chiefs, the Chief of the Army Staff, and all the other important leaders in Pakistan. But what I'd like to understand from you, putting aside all of those statements that are extremely important as well, that make us realize of the importance of this day and the continued resolve of our people, of our forces, to have the same spirit as we had in 1965 on this very day. Speaking of which, what is the spirit of September 1965, 6th September 1965? What was the actual spirit of that day that continues to thrive within the forces?
I think first and the foremost was the ideology on which Pakistan was created, that it is a castle for the Muslim Ummah, and we all those who are living within it, we have to defend this country. So that oneness actually was the unity, and unity at all levels. It was irrespective whosoever was there, our singers, our writers, our of course the forces were there, but each and every member of our society, they united together. And that is the one lesson which is to be replicated even today also. That's the one thing which comes here as well. But in the intro, as you said, the dynamics have changed. Now the war is less on the boundaries, more on the ideological front. So to understand that, narratives, education, and especially our new generation has to be given the true perspective.
Because when you look at, I mean, even if I refer to how the DGISPR talked to the media yesterday, he also talked about narratives, the war of narratives, specifically mentioning Balochistan. He said how different narratives were being, false narratives were being built up. This continues to be the case in 2024. Now this has become a war of narratives.
Exactly. So the battle is in the minds most of the time now. This battle is going in the minds of the young lot. So our system, our way of dealing with will have to cope up with this kind of situation. And in that, of course, information you can't stop, but within the information, but you can have a partial control, but at the same time you got to have your own narrative embedded within that to counter that. So that is the kind of preparations or working which we have to do. We have to educate our younger lot. Especially I would say that one of the social worker, he is Gunter Poli. I was reading his interview. He said that 30 years and above, the people don't change much. So he said, I have to work at the toddlers. So he has started working at that level, so that all the things are embedded into their mind, and it becomes habit, and it becomes their thinking. So we need to go at the grassroots level also. So at all tiers we will have to work it out strategies.
I think that's very important, because the enemy is trying through all different means to inculcate a very different narrative or mindset within the minds of the youth.
I give you a small example about the 65 war. When I was at the school level, I read a small story. It was written by a soldier. It was about, I think, Chuenda, where the battle of tank battle took place, and he said the battle was going on and then nothing was visible, and I saw a lady and she was roaming around. I asked the lady, what are you doing here? She said that I have something for the soldiers to eat. So she was presenting them. So this is the, I think, the motivation and the level of that each soldier was there, plus the nation. So that is the kind of motivation is required nowadays as well.
I totally agree with you on that, and I think all of us collectively and individually need to work in that direction. AVM Ijaz Malik Saab, the leadership's determination in the 1965 war and in 1965 pre and post war was to safeguard Pakistan's interests in the face of adversity that was emblematic of the collective spirit. How can we bolster that collective spirit in society? What mechanisms do we need to use?
Actually, we need to gel together. We need to, I would say, restart the process of nation building, where Pakistan becomes our topmost priority, where every one of us, the elderly, the younger generation, and even at the lower school levels, where everybody has this vision or this mission in his or her mind that together we stand. And Pakistan is the key for our survival. Whatever luxury we have, starting the biggest luxury is freedom. We have to see what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Kashmir, what's happening in Raza, what's happening in other areas which are occupied, and those nations are struggling for their homeland or restoration of peace in their villages, in their towns. So we need to gel together, and we need to value our freedom. And then all the avenues of socio-economic development, they hinge upon the progress and development of Pakistan together. Whether it be, the plains of Punjab, which are virtually the food basket, and you provide us food security, or Balochistan, which has tremendous potential through hidden natural mineral resources, or a province of KP, or Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit Baltistan, which provide us, lifeline of water, which we use not only for irrigation but for energy production. So we have to harness all these resources, but we have to remain attached to Pakistan. Pakistan should be our household discussion in schools, in media, and we have to make people realize that we can only survive and prosper if we keep Pakistan on topmost priority in our personal as well as collective lives.
I couldn't agree more. I think this is something that we need to hammer out very, very regularly through our media, social media and traditional media as well. Lieutenant General Raza Khan Saab, you were talking of the Chavinda battle, and I'd like you to narrate something from that battle, because we need our youth, all those who are listening to it, all those who do not remember or maybe do not understand the importance of the 1965 war, specifically this battle. And related to that battle, when you look at that day today in 2024, this is also a day that we take to renew our pledge that we are a strong, we are a proud nation, and we will not be intimidated by any foreign element or any foreign nation. I'd like to understand, as the second part of my question, what should be our pledge on the 59th Defence and Martyrs Day?
First of all, I'll try and answer your second question first, and that is also related to which my other colleagues talked about, and I will actually talk about it in the context of the 1971 war now.
All right.
So what happened was that Lal Bahadur Shastri, he died in 65 in Tashkent, and then Indira Gandhi took over, and from 1965 till 1971 she had pledged that she is going to drown the two nation theory in the Bay of Bengal, and for that she started working with on the minds of the people of East Pakistan. Through the means and the media which was available then at that time. It was essentially through the academia in East Pakistan, which comprised mainly of Hindu professors, in their universities and then the schools and the colleges, and then the radio propaganda. Through that, their minds were hijacked, their minds were polluted, and a sense of hatred was created for them, to hate West Pakistan and all. And let me tell you that what Modi is now saying about Balochistan is the same. You recall that on his inauguration, he had very clearly told the world that he is going to do all that he can to again now, God forbid, break Balochistan from Pakistan. And what is happening now is again part of the fifth generation warfare, part of the grey zone operations or the hybrid war. And I think the people of Pakistan really need to understand that that although presently information technology and an artificial intelligence is part of all spheres and all domains of our life. However, there are some countries, particularly India, and some individuals who are misusing this by combining the artificial intelligence and information technology with psychology for their own personal agendas. We have seen it in Pakistan, and also for their political agendas, and also, as I said, RAW is using that to pollute the minds of the people of Pakistan. RAW is using that to create hatred of the people, for the armed forces, for the institution. So that is now the kind of war that is being waged. Coming back now to the first part of your question.
So what should be the, then in your words, what should be the pledge that we should make today?
Sure. So the pledge is that, look, you should be mindful of all these things, that this is the new form of warfare in the year 2024, and therefore you have to protect your minds from that. Obviously, you know, the RAW has a budget of $300 million per year. It has 500,000 cyber warriors and specialists who are doing all this. They are polluting and hijacking the mind, particularly of the youth of Pakistan. So it's not only the government of Pakistan which must respond to that. It is the people of Pakistan, the civil society, the academia, in addition to, you know, to PAMRA and also through PACA and other things, and also the very urgent need of the social media platforms to have their offices present here so that they are not misused. Can I now go back to the first part of the question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
The Battle of Chavinda was the biggest tank fight, you know, since Kursk in 1943 in Russia, where 150 Indian tanks were destroyed by only 2 squadrons of our armored corps. That again, probably I think it's in the Guinness Book of World Record. This has never happened since then. And I think the people of Pakistan and the armed forces of Pakistan are truly proud of that. And of course, in that operation, in that destruction of the Indian armored division, which actually broke their backbone, the PF played a very significant role in all forms of support to the army, and there were very close cooperation between the army and the PF. Although at that time, you know, we did not have the joint staff headquarters for any coordination, but it was one-to-one coordination by the 2 services, and I think the world and the Indians saw the result of that.
All right. Vice Admiral Saab, now that we are going back a little bit in history, I'd like you to narrate some incidents, because I know you were not part of the 1965 war, but you must have heard from your seniors a lot about the shelling of Dwarka, how our Pakistan Navy, you know, thwarted the enemy designs. Would you highlight 1 or 2 small stories from that era that have been narrated to you over the generations that I would like you to narrate now to our new generations?
Yeah, sure. The first and the foremost, I think the kind of starting from the Samreen Ghazi. Now you see, Samreen Ghazi had just arrived. It was only 1 year before. Its operations were still in infancy, and it was being put in the war, and the crew was new. But at that time, the commanding officer, the officers, the sailors, they were so excited that everybody was willing to be part of it. And it was difficult for the command to take to whom he should take and to whom he should not. So eventually they did take the crew which was the best. So only once, I mean, you can see that how much terror it created in the western seaboard of India. That at that time they had the ships in their harbors, they had the aircraft carrier, but none of the ship came out during the entire period of this war. They had the INS Mysore, which was in the Cochin, it did not come out. They had another ship which was in Mumbai, it did not come out. So this is a kind of superior strategy, I would say, that was adopted at that time. That created so much of superior the dominance at that time at sea. Their western seaboard was totally paralyzed.
Their aircraft carrier never ventured to come toward the side, and it was actually stayed there in Bombay throughout.
And it is a less known fact that in Dwarka there was an airstrip which was specially designed to train the aircraft with a jump ski for the aircraft carrier. Actually they were planning that they will have training there and then they will use on the aircraft. So that airstrip was also targeted. So that is a kind of strategic dent it was made at that particular time. So these are the things I think our young generation need to know, that it's not the material, as General Raza said, it's the superior thinking, planning, the will, and unity of the forces and the people of Pakistan, which actually earned this day for us.
Exactly, and we continue to remember this day because of that very determination, of that will, of that passion to not only safeguard our own interests but also those of the nation and for all the future generations. AVM Ijaz Malik Saab, you know, all of these discussions that we are having with our two guests in the studios kind of reinvigorate our passion, our nationhood, our pride in our country, in our armed forces as well. I'd like your comment on the events of 1965 and how they prove that it is not, as Vice Admiral Saab also pointed out, the size of the enemy that matters, but the courage and the devotion that matters the most in any war.
We didn't have any higher defense organization like a structured joint staff headquarters or any institutional exercises which could have created a synergy in training before the war. But the leadership at that time, they had a wonderful coordination at operational level, and Pakistan Air Force, it was vigilant even prior to the start of the war formally on the dawn of 6th of September. Air Marshal Noor Khan, then Chief of the Air Staff, he was personally flying in some of the reconnaissance missions in the areas where tensions were building up in the Kashmir and Sialkot, Chivinda, and these areas. So the moment we had engagement on the land battle, Pakistan Air Force, embarked upon providing not only the air defense to all our vulnerable areas and vulnerable points, but we managed to create air superiority. In fact, it later on turned out to be the air supremacy after 3 or 4 days of war, because then it was only PF in the skies and Indians virtually never were able to come towards Pakistan. And that was created by a high-speed, synergized, response by PF, which happened in the form of not only a simultaneous attack on 3 important air bases on the IF side, which could have been a factor against our troops, ground troops in the around LOC and working boundary. Those were Halwara, Adampur, and Pathankot. We destroyed most of their aircraft on ground, which means that we took the air war from Pakistani airspace right to their home front. So that was one achievement. And later on, Pakistan Air Force provided, as General Saab has alluded to, a very important and valuable close support and battlefield air interdiction mission whenever was requested or asked for by the Army Command, Operational Command at that time. So that really gelled all 3 forces together. So that was really a defining moment to create that synergy, which an outnumbered, military apparatus like Pakistan Armed Forces. We were outnumbered in 65 and we continue to be, because we are not into arms race with India. We only want to live, with our self-respect intact, and where we are able to, look after our territorial integrity through a bare minimum deterrence as well as the conventional preparedness. And Alhamdulillah, over the years, whenever our valiant armed forces were called upon, they reacted. And talking specifically about the Air Force, even in the 71 war, PF proven claim through neutral sources of shooting down Indian aircraft was much higher than as of India. And then coming very recently, the peacetime readiness we have displayed in the form of the operations swift retort. So our armed forces have, I would say, morphed into a battle-hardened and highly committed, valiant armed forces. And we should not be deterred by, although we should have counter narratives, but we should remain focused and we should stand behind our armed forces, because it is only.
All right. Thank you very much, AVM Saab. Stay up with us. I mean, last two questions coming to my two guests, beginning with you, Lieutenant General Saab. What are the major external and internal threats faced by Pakistan today, and how can our nation neutralize these threats? The second part is Pakistan emerged from the 1965 war with India as a strong and a confident nation, proud of itself and its forces as well. Has India learnt any lesson from this war? I'd like a short answer because we're short of time.
The very brief answer from that is no, India has not learnt any lessons.
Okay.
Because if it did learn any lessons, it wouldn't be doing what they're doing now. But coming back to your question, you see, again, I will try and answer it in the context of the occupation of Afghanistan, first by the Soviet Union, then and it was 9 years of their stay there, followed by 10 years of civil war there, and the blowback of that. We offered tremendous sacrifices in that, and the narrative built there by the Indians were to the Afghans, that's all this is happening because of Pakistan. And similarly, I think during NATO ISAF occupation of Afghanistan, we were actually sacrificing. We sacrificed 75,000 people and $126 billion. But India constantly was telling them and the world that whatever wrong is happening there in Afghanistan, it is because of Pakistan. So it is that kind of narrative which India is trying to make. It is actually monitoring our social media platforms continuously, day and night, gathering perceptions and then manipulating the perception of the people of Pakistan. We need to be aware of that.
All right. Final question to you, Vice Admiral retired Ahmed Saeed Saab. Pakistan's Defence Day is a tale of unity in diversity. How does it stand as a beacon of hope in a world that is beset by polarization and divide?
As within your question, you started off by saying that it's a unity in diversity. So unity in diversity is the key, I would say. It's in major countries we have seen, like in Malaysia, there is a division, but they stood up. It is the nation which has to understand that within what is the beauty within our diversity. And what I would say that we take a message from the Holy Book, from the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, where it says that this book is guide for those who believe in. So we have to believe in our ideology, we have to believe in our country, we have to believe in our forces, and we have to believe in ourselves. So that is the key where we have to look into.
All right. Thank you very much to all three of my guests. I'll begin with Lieutenant General retired Raza Khan Saab, Senior Analyst and former President of NDU, and then of course Vice Admiral retired Ahmed Saeed, Hilal Imtiaz Military, Director General of NIMA, and finally to AVM retired Ijaz Malik Saab, Senior Analyst, to have joined us, belonging to three different parts of our armed forces, belonging to three forces that are one when it comes to any nefarious designs by our enemy. The 6th of September is one of the proudest moments as far as Pakistan is concerned. Our martyrs are our pride. Pakistan will continue to remain invincible, and our armed forces are capable of foiling any imperialism, whether it be Indian or otherwise. And of course, this day also reminds us of the stupendous bravery of our armed forces and commemorates Pakistan's glorious history. Omar, Khalid bids you farewell. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with new stories and segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Happy 6th of September. Allah Hafiz.